So instead of calling it my 40 mile a week, for her, we called it Power Week, bitches. Yes. Hey, Run Elite, Andrew here. Now I'm gonna share a story with you that is so powerful for how you can instantly run better, instantly change how you feel. And this is really for the kind of person who wants to dive super deep into who they're becoming as a runner in order to be the best kind of runner that they can. The only reason that you want to train and do intervals and increase your mileage is because you think that if you do that, you're going to get a result that makes you feel a certain way. You think that if you do that, you're going to get to race day and you'll run a better time or a PR, and that by doing that, that gives you the ability to feel great. Now, I want you to think about something. When a runner on a track race, maybe at the Olympics, they cross the finish line in first, what do? Oftentimes, they put their hands up, they put a number 1 up, they smile, they celebrate. And guess what? They're not celebrating and smiling and putting a number 1 up because their physical torso crossed an arbitrary line on a rubber track. Nothing happened. They just crossed a line. But what it means to them gave them permission to feel good. And so they allow themselves to feel good. Now, wouldn't it be awfully silly if the person in 7th place crossed the finish line, put their hands up, beat their chest, smiled, and fist pumped? We would think that they're a little bit crazy, especially if they put up a number 1. But who cares if we think that they're crazy? If that runner in 7th place crossed the finish line and they feel that good, they got the result. It's as good as if they won and set a world record. But wait a second, it's not as good as a world record. Or is it? Because the only reason we want the world record or the PR or the Boston qualifier is because we think when we get it, we're going to feel so good. Now, you might feel good by putting your hands up and you feel good in a moment of screaming ecstasy joy. Or you might feel good about who you became in the process. It might be a more humble feel good, where you look back on your training and you think it was worth it. I like who I became. I ran that race intelligently. And those things make you, guess what? Feel good. It's about feeling good. Now, this is a little bit of a catch because you can feel good if you did some drugs or, did something that wasn't healthy necessarily. You might smoke a cigarette and you feel good. But in the long term, you don't feel good because it robs you of your health. So in the short term, feeling good versus in the long term feeling good, they kind of can be the same. And in your running, I want you to feel good in the process. And then when race day comes, it's just a formality. So a quick story for you. I just got off of a coaching call with one of my dear runners. This girl, she's a high school girl, so I'll leave her anonymous, but I get on coaching calls with her and her mother. And we do this every month. And this girl is really making huge leaps and bounds in her training. She's a sophomore in high school and she's killing it. And she's killing it long term about who she's becoming. This girl, she has overhauled her diet. She eats so clean. And I asked her on our call, how many of your friends eat as clean as you? And she said, well, none of them. Yeah, none of them. That is how elite you are. Now, she's in between seasons, in between cross country and indoor track. She's got about 3 weeks. So we set up some training for her. It's nice, easy training. It's base training, foundational training. We're going to get her miles up, nice and easy. We're going to get her strides way high, but those are also nice and easy. It's all easy. But when she comes in to day 1 of indoor track, she's going to be able to say, she's going to know that she just ran a 40-mile week. And for her, that's a lot of running. And she did 60 strides. That's a lot of strides for her. So she's going to come into this and she's going to see the other people on her team. She's going to talk with them and she'll find out what they did during the 3 or 4 weeks. Chances are none of them ate as well as she did, trained as consistently as she did, and felt as good. But here's the real kicker. What we did, we spent 25 minutes at the end of our call pumping her emotional state. So I'm going to share a little bit of this with you and how you may be able to do this for yourself as well. Now, what we did with her was we mapped out her training and we had this week right before indoor season where she's going to run higher mileage, the most mileage she's ever run, and higher strides. This is something that is a powerful week. So I wanted her to give it a name. I said, what kind of name can we give this week? You can call it Taylor Swift week. You can call it Power week. You can call it, profanity here for those of you who don't want to hear it, hit mute, but we can call it like your fucking week of absolute power, bitches, or something like that. Something that juices you up. So she decided to call it Power Week Bitches. And I want you to do this too. I want you to think of what you're moving towards in your training. Maybe the big race that's coming, or a big workout that you're going to do, or a long run, or maybe just getting 6 days in a row of consistent running. Whatever it is, I want you to give it a name and call it something that enlivens you. So instead of calling it my 40-mile week, for her, we called it Power Week, bitches. Yes. Now, I had her try saying these words. Just say them. Power Week, bitches. Now, how does that feel? And I had her make a sigh of disappointment after a bad race and put her head down. Slump her shoulders forward and say, Power Week, bitches. Now, how does that feel? Now, put your shoulders back, put your chest forward, put your arms up, put a smile on your face. See, before we even say it, it starts to feel good. And we say, Power Week, bitches. Yeah, it feels good. And we did it again. And we said, yes, yes, yes. And we did it again. Power Week, bitches. We did it again and again and brought her into a low energy and a high energy and a low energy. And you guessed it, boom, a high energy. Now, the purpose of me doing that with her was to show the absolute proof in real time that we have the capacity to change how we feel in a moment. We change how we feel like that. Now, if you're out walking your dog, God forbid, and you're something happens, right? You're happily walking your dog, you're skipping down the street and you're licking a lollipop. You maybe feel good, a sunshiny day, until, let's God forbid, that a car comes by and hits your dog. I hope not. But if that happened, your emotion changes in an instant. Consequently, if you're single and you want to be dating somebody and your dream partner comes up to you and tells you how attractive you are and how much they want you and they ask you on a date, you might feel pretty good. Or if you win the lottery, you might instantly feel pretty good. You're looking at your Powerball numbers and you feel anxious. And then as soon as you see that winning Powerball number, you feel elated. Now, is it the ink on the paper that made you feel like that? Or is it what it means to you that made you feel like that? The ink on the paper, the person asking you on a date, or the race time that you get, the personal record, the Boston qualifier, or the world record, or the age group place, or whatever it is that you want. Remember that you only want that because you think it'll make you feel a certain way. But if feeling the certain way is the end goal, what if we flip the script? And what if instead of pursuing feeling good, meaning that I'll give myself permission to feel good if all this goes well and then I do it. Well, then you're at the whim of who else is there on race day, of the weather, whether you get injured or not, if the race is canceled, etc. But if we flip the script so that if we know that that's the outcome, you can choose to live as the person who already has that outcome. And when you do it, you show up on race day having already won, and the race becomes a celebration. Now, I'll prove this to you. I'll prove it. Ready? Proof. Proof is in the pudding. Proof is in Usain Bolt. Now, Usain Bolt, you probably know who he is. When he walks out onto the track, he doesn't come out and just like shake his arms and shake his legs and look furious on his face like a lot of the other sprinters who were trying to beat him. Now, they may be good sprinters, but they're no Usain Bolt. We can probably agree on that. They come out and they try to get themselves in a focused, competitive warrior state. And they do to a large degree. These might be Olympians, but they're not Usain Bolt. When Usain Bolt comes onto the track, what does he do? He plays around. He points up to the stands. He wags his finger at the competitors next to him. He literally does that, even while running a race. There was one where 100-meter race where he wagged his finger at the guy who was trying to come up behind him. Before he gets on the blocks, remember the lightning bolt where he does this? The lightning bolt. So he's changing his physiology. He is supremely confident. He already got the result. He's already won. He knows it. We all know it watching him. That's why the crowd loves it. Now, when Usain Bolt steps into the blocks at the Olympics, we know he's going to win. Now, we want to watch the race because that's what competition is, but we know he's going to win. People bet money on it. We know he's going to win. Greatest of all time. And he does. We know it, but we only know it because he knows it. We don't know it because we look at the stats and blah, blah, blah. We know it because when we see this guy on the track, he is a champion. He is a winner. He decided before the gun went off. Michael Johnson in 1996 Olympics did the same thing. He came out onto the track wearing gold shoes. Now, you don't wear gold shoes if you're planning a silver medal, now do you? No, he knew he was going to win. He didn't think he was going to win. He didn't try to win. He knew he was going to win. And someone who's skeptical of that, they might say, well, he was pretending. He's trying to give himself the best advantage possible, but nobody could know if you're going to win until you do it. Says someone who doesn't embrace this. Michael Johnson knew he was going to win. Usain Bolt knew he was going to win again and again and again. And we see this with the distance runners as well. We see this with Steve Prefontaine. Now, Steve Prefontaine was a fiery man, and he got himself really well pumped up. Now, at the 1972 Olympics, he did get 4th place, and it crushed him. He came back later, but it really was crushing for him because he wasn't feeling, he thought he needed to win in order to feel good. So when he didn't win, he didn't feel good. Now, I'm not saying that losing the Olympics, if you're trying to win, feels good, but I'm saying that he needed it in order to give himself permission to feel good. When Usain Bolt does not. When you do not need to. Now, I want you to go get your times. I want you to set a PR. I want you to run well. But what I really want for you is to get that result first and engage in that kind of energy through your training so that you've already won by the time the gun goes off. Now we let the universe take over. And if you are that kind of person, if you are a sub 3 hour marathoner, you naturally run a sub 3 marathon. Make sense? So a little message for you. I hope that was helpful for you. Mindset is everything. Nutrition, lifestyle, and training, they're important. But if you don't feel fulfilled by what you're doing, if it's not meaningful to you, if you don't live the result as you're going through the process, then all you're doing is grinding it out in the hopes that the universe owes you something and that one day you'll get your booty. That's a good way to be disappointed. And it's also a really good way to not live a life that when you get to the end of your life that you were proud of living, that you wanted to live, because you're grinding it out all the time, hoping for the payoff in the future, as opposed to living in the payoff now, because you decide to flip your own emotional switches and get your power week, bitches. All right. Short message from Andrew Snow at Run Elite. I hope you found value in this. I'll see you on our next full-length, full-edited video. This was just a fun one for you. Take care. Goodbye.
Standing like a weapon on the field to get some. On the real, we appear to get gone. Victory is ours. Bring the chip home.
Did you like that video? Great. Then do 2 things. Pick up a copy of Run Elite. You can get it on Amazon. You can get the audio on Audible as well. And watch the free training that I have with the link in the description below. And it's going to blow your mind. It's about an hour where we go super deep. Thank you so much for watching.
Faster! Faster!